Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha, and if this is your first time stopping by, please subscribe. So this video is like 4 years late. It is 4 years overdue. I cannot believe I haven't done an editing video. I actually had 2 subscribers mention that they would like to see an editing video, and I was like, duh, like why haven't you done this already? But yeah, so I've been doing YouTube for about 4 years now, and I would not consider myself an editing pro, but I know a couple of things. Like, not to brag, but I literally had to teach myself editing tips, and I remember watching YouTube videos for hours, like literally hours, on how to edit on Final Cut Pro, and it was exhausting, but I'm about to save you all of that trouble and give you all of the basics that you need. Once you get a few skills down pat, I promise you editing becomes a lot more enjoyable, and your videos, you'll just see the difference in the quality. So if you're a beginner, if you're someone who's been working with Final Cut Pro but you just need some new tips, hopefully this video will be helpful for you. And I'm gonna link everything down below that I talk about, whether it's a website, a resource that I use, anything like that. So definitely check out the description box after this video. But yeah, I'm gonna try my best to make this as easy as possible to follow. So we're literally gonna edit a video in real time so you can see how I do things from start to finish. So yeah, without further ado, get your notebooks out, your pens, whatever you need to, you know, write your notes down, and let's begin editing. So the first thing that we're gonna do is open up Final Cut Pro. So I actually have never really been an iMovie girl. I tried it like once or twice when I was first starting my editing journey, and I just did not like it for some reason. Like, I don't know what it was about it, but I just feel like Final Cut Pro really gives you that high quality editing feel. So I prefer that. That's what I can give the best tips on. So if you have that, great. If you don't, definitely check it out. I think it's very much worth it. So of course, before you even start editing, you need your clips. So I use the Sony ZV-1 to record, but sometimes I even use my iPhone camera and just airdrop clips into Final Cut Pro. But if you are using a camera, you're probably gonna want one of these import pieces. So I used to use a USB cord, and I didn't really find that, like, I found them kind of faulty sometimes. Like, let's say my arm touched the camera, it would just fully stop importing. So this is way easier because it's smaller, it's compact. Once you insert it into the computer, it doesn't move the entire time. It's almost like literally a flash drive in a way. So I put whatever SD card I have into this, and it has multiple pieces depending what type of computer or phone you're plugging this into. I also use this for my digital camera, so I'm telling you, this thing is worth getting. It's like $10. I'm gonna link it down below. So I literally insert this into my computer. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now so we can see everything in real time. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is, of course, open up Final Cut Pro. I'm gonna go to File here and press New Library. So this is basically where your videos will be housed. I'm someone who deletes or saves my videos onto a flash drive and deletes it from my computer every single time I upload after I'm fully done with the video, just to free up space in my computer, because my computer doesn't have the best memory. So I usually just click library, and you can name it whatever. I can just name it like YouTube videos or something, I don't know. Save that, and then after that you're gonna click new project. So this is what the file of your video is gonna be. So I'm just gonna say Paris Get Ready With Me, hint hint. So that will be the name of the file, and then from there you can start importing the clips. So I'm gonna click this little download button right here, or I guess it's like the down arrow button. And as you can see, I've already inserted my USB adapter into my computer, so now all of my clips are in here. So you're gonna select the clips that you want and just press import. So these are all the clips I'm gonna be needing, but I'm just gonna add one for now to make it really quick. And then after that we can start cutting the clips up. So now that you have your clip, you're gonna drop it down here. So I like to rough cut my video before I do any kind of editing. So what that means is that I literally go through the entire video and eliminate everything that I don't want. So those little 15, 20, 30-minute videos you see on YouTube, I promise you they probably took forever to edit, because most of the time goes into cutting out all the fluff. So that could be me tripping up on my words, that could be, I don't know, maybe something I felt like didn't really add to the vlog, so I full on just cut it out. So that is usually what I have to do. And once you take out the things you don't want, it's a lot easier to put in the things that you do want, like text, transitions, fonts, music. So I recommend going through a rough cut once. It's gonna be long and tedious, but once you have the clips that you actually want, it's a lot easier to start editing. So now, how do you cut on Final Cut Pro? How do you cut out all the clips, split them, all of that? So what I typically do is go through the things that I don't want. So right here, it's pretty silent, so I'm pretty sure that I wasn't really speaking in here. As you can see, I'm like setting up the background for my video. And over here as well, I could see that a lot of the volume, I don't know if you could see here, down here, a lot of it is cut a bit, which means I probably was stopping a lot when I was talking. So I know that I want to skip directly over that. So I'm gonna go all the way to where it starts to look more of a full sentence. So we're gonna start the clip here, which I figure is my intro because it's the last time I stopped cutting a lot. And you're gonna select the clip, just click on it, and you're gonna press Command B. So once you do that, it full on splits the clip, and I usually just delete it from there because I know I'm not gonna need it. And if you wanna, obviously, like let's say you accidentally deleted it, you can just Command Z that and it will undo it. And then from there, you keep on doing that until you have your desired clip. So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha, and if this is your first time stopping by, please subscribe. And that would stop right there again because I know I'm done talking. I'm gonna select the clip again, Command B to blade it, and then I'm gonna keep on going until I want to cut out the next thing and delete again. So I'm gonna Command B and delete. If it is not obvious by the title of this video, I am going to Paris next week, which when I tell you, I'm so excited. So that is pretty much how you blade the video or split it. That is gonna be your best friend. If there's anything you should learn from this video, it's definitely little tips on how to just quickly cut things out, just to make the editing experience really smooth, because if you don't know how to do these things, it can really slow you down. So Command B for blading, delete the clips you don't want, make that rough cut, and then from there you can actually move into what you want to actually do with the editing. So next we're going into text, because I think text is so important. Everything from fonts to transitions to just all of that, like it's really important because it can add a little bit of spice to your video. It can make it easier for the viewer to follow. Let's say you have a location that you want people to see, you will write that in. So you're gonna go to this little T sign in the corner over here, and that is text. So I typically go up here to titles, and this is gonna give you an entire list of titles that you can use. This one is atmosphere, which I don't think I'll ever use this, but who knows. You have basic 3D, all of that. So I like to either use basic title or custom. I actually use custom more. I feel like basic title and custom are pretty much the same if you just want plain text that has nothing to it. So I'll typically drag that down on top of the video. So you're gonna put it on top of whatever clip you want it on, and I'll double click on that. And then I'm gonna go into this right hand side, and this is where you can write everything you want. So if I just write Paris, get ready with me, or something like that, it will just come up on the screen. So now you know how to add text, but of course you're gonna want different fonts because sometimes I don't really like the fonts that Final Cut Pro gives. So what you're gonna do is go to thefont.com, and this is where I typically download all of my fonts. But you're probably asking, where do I find fonts, or how do I know what font to download? So my recommendation is to go to Pinterest because they have so much free information there. You can literally type in whatever you're looking for, whether it's a retro font, a vintage, like it doesn't matter what kind of font, they probably have pins for it, which is going to be super helpful for you. So I have an entire board saved in my Pinterest where I just add different video ideas that I come across, things that I may want to try, maybe things that I want to add my own spin to make my videos more interesting. This is the perfect place to go. So I know I saved a couple of pins for different fonts, like this one right here. So yeah, these give you great fonts. This is more of my vibe for fonts, something that looks elegant. So I'm gonna maybe try to see if I can find Carlo at thefont.com. Sometimes it doesn't have it here, which is kind of annoying. So you kind of just have to play around until you find something that you can actually see. But yeah, so as you can see, this first font here, I'm just gonna click download, and just make sure that you're actually opening the file so you can officially download it, because you're gonna click on the TTF file, and then from there it's gonna ask you to install the font. So I'm just gonna click install, and as you can see, when I go to my fonts, I should be able to see it. Let's see if it's here. Yep, right here, Carlo. So now I have the font. So what you do want to do is make sure you're closing out Final Cut Pro and then reopening it up, because then the font will officially save into there. But if not, you may still not be seeing it if you just downloaded it. So I'm gonna open Final Cut Pro up again, and now that I have my fonts, I can play around with it and see how that looks. So now I'm gonna click on the selected text so it can pop up on this right hand corner again. And I'm just gonna look for Carlo, which is right here. So sometimes they have more than one, but this one is just one variation of it, regular. So you can also play with the size of it over here for size of fonts. You can also play with the color of it. So what you'll do is go down to face right here and click on this little arrow for color, and you can just play around with different colors. If you do want to save your own colors into it, like maybe you found a color code on Google that you want to add to this, what I do is double click on this and add in that hex code. And then from there, I'm usually able to switch out colors. These are ones that I've saved in the past, so I just kind of have them saved here. And that is pretty much that for text, I think. So you can add more than one text as well. This was just a basic custom text, so just the words with no kind of motion, animation, transition, or anything like that. But there's plenty of different ones that you can do. So another one that I like to use is continuous. So I like continuous if I'm trying to add a more elegant feel to the video. So as you can see, it just types out the text a bit slowly, and it does the same for the text going out as well, which I like. You can also add transitions to text, which I love doing that. So I'm gonna show that together with how you can add transitions to videos as well, because it's all the same for text too. So let's move on. So moving on to how you can add effects and transitions. So that also includes overlays into your video. So what you're gonna do is move over to this right hand corner. So the first one that looks like two squares is where you're gonna find all of your effects. So I love using fun effects on my videos. You can pretty much do anything. So one of my favorite ones is for underwater, as you can see. So I usually use this on text, so I'm gonna show you how I can do that. So I'll usually click on the text, double click underwater, and then from there your text should be underwater. And then you can also kind of play around with how much it moves. So I'll click this button over here, and then I can play around with how much I want the size of the underwater to be, the speed of it. Let's say I want it to be slower, for example. I can play with that. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name, as you can see, so there's a lot of fun ways to add effects, not only to your videos but to your text as well. So if you want to add transitions to your video, I think that's really important, just to make things flow too. Also to break the video up so it's not literally just one long clip. So you're gonna go to the last button right here on the right hand corner, and this is where you're gonna find all of your transitions. So you can find circles, you can find reveal ones, like whatever you want, play around with it until you figure out what you think will look best with the video. So one of my favorite ones is a circle one. I like to add this at the beginning of a video sometimes, and certain transitions will let you play around with how it comes in or exits. So for example, the circle one, I like to click on open for the beginning. So that way when the video is starting, it's kind of almost like presenting the video, which I love that. I also use chevron and clock a lot. So same thing with here. I would usually just go into clock, drag that exactly where I want it to be, and then from there it's gonna actually look like a clock when it's opening up my video. So there's so many transitions. I don't use all of them. Like I said, pick the ones that make the most sense for you, because you don't need to know all of them. And that goes for editing in general. There's no way you're gonna know how to edit or how to use every single edit tip unless you professionally do it for a living. I don't think you need to know all of that. So definitely pick what you feel like works best for your style of editing. Also, I'm gonna show you how to add overlays to your video. So overlays just means that when the video is playing, you can maybe have something else on the screen while it's playing at the same time. So in the simplest way that I can show overlays, you're gonna go over to the T box over here, which just stands for text, and you're gonna go down to solids. So this is just gonna be a screen that you can add to your video, whether you're adding it with text on top, whatever it is, you're gonna find a lot of them here. And you can also change the color of them, which is great. So I'm gonna just add the pastel one and just drag it over my video. I'm also gonna get rid of this transition right here just to make it easier for you to see. So now when I'm playing, let's say I add the volume back to this, add it to 0. I'll show you right now what it looks like. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha. Now this is your first time, so like, subscribe. So if you want to be talking but you want to show something else on the screen, that's a great way to do it. You can also add text right on top of this screen as well. So now you can see this. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha. So this is great because you can also add images to it. I'll show an example of how you can add a picture to it. So you can do the same kind of thing with pictures as well. So I'm gonna add this picture right on top of here. So this picture would be showing while I'm still talking in the background. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. super simple. So you can add a picture, you can add just a solid screen like I did in the beginning. You can add text on top of it. It's super easy to overlay. So this is a good way to add a little bit of extra pop to your video, so you can be doing anything and showing your viewers something at the same time. I also just recently discovered one of the best things ever for adding a little bit of flair to your video. So I figured out how to use green screens in my video. I've really been into frames lately for my videos, so I'll show you what that means. So I have this green screen frame over here, and I found this on Pinterest. So I literally typed in overlay green screens aesthetics, something along those lines, until I found fun ones. So this one's a digital camera. So if you watch my last video, which was my St. Martin vlog, you probably saw this in the intro. So the way to get rid of the green screen here is to go into effects, which is the second to last box over here, and you're gonna type in keyer. So once you find this, you're gonna add keyer directly into here, and now you just have a fun frame for your video, which I think this is so cool. So as you can see, it'll be playing with the frame surrounding the video. I've been doing this for 4 years now, but I'm constantly still learning new things because there's so many things to learn. So this is probably one of the more fun things that I've learned. But yeah, there's lots of cool ways to do overlays to add a little bit of extra detail to your video. I also want to quickly go through sound effects because I think that adds a little bit of detail to your videos. So I'll click on the music button here, which is the second button at the top, and I'm gonna go to sound effects. So one of my favorite ones to use is a computer mouse, because I just like how it sounds, honestly, on top of my video, no real reason. And then I'll usually just drag that below whatever clip I want it to be on. So let's say I wanted to start right at where I start talking. So I'm actually gonna move it right over here. And then that's pretty much it. So I'll show you how that sounds all together. There you go. Simple. You can add it anywhere you want on the video. There's a lot of cool ones as well, but that's personally what I like. You can also add your own or download your own sound effects, which I'll show that part of how I add music to my videos. But yeah, it is really, really easy to add sound effects. Again, when you're making your video, you really want to make it in a way that makes sense to you or that's unique to you. So I've watched videos where people put no transitions, they barely even cut the video, but it works for them. And I've watched videos where people have a bunch of transitions and a bunch of cool things, and that also works for them. So again, I kind of just found what I like for my own videos. So hopefully you like some of these too. So moving on to music, because I think music is one of the most important things for a video. It really does make a difference. Just in the experience, like the viewer experience is really impacted by how the music or what your music choice is. So I personally like to find music that matches the vibe of the video. So whether I'm doing something like a calm coffee day, I'm probably gonna look for jazz music, whatever it is. So what you're gonna do is go to either Epidemic or Thematic, which those are the two main non-copyright music sites that I use. So these are great. I personally prefer Epidemic Sound over Thematic, which I'm gonna go there as well so you can see what the site is. So I love Epidemic because they have everything from sound effects, music. They're also easier to navigate, in my opinion, than Hello Thematic, because you can actually look for music by genre, which I like. So let's say I'm looking for Afro beats music. They literally have a genre for that, so I can just go right into here and they're gonna give me a bunch of different songs. Again, all non-copyright, so you don't have to worry about getting flagged by YouTube. And yeah, I just love this website. I also use this again for sound effects, so I'll just click on sound effects right at the top over here, and you can do everything from phone alarm, which will give you different ones. You can do, let's see, click, you'll get different clicks like finger click, mouse button, all of those. So you can download those and add them to your video. And yeah, it just really does make it so much easier to find music when I know there's a whole library where I don't have to get copyrighted and I can find that. Same with Thematic. Again, this isn't my go-to. I kind of interchange between this and Epidemic, even though I do prefer Epidemic Sound. And I'll usually just go in here and find different songs. Like I'll just play them until I find something that I'm really into. So I actually pay for both of these. I think Epidemic you have to pay for and Thematic you don't have to pay for. I just chose a premium one because it just made it easier to find more music. So again, like I think it's worth it. I think my Epidemic Sound membership is like $15 a month, but for me it's worth it because I post weekly, and knowing that I have all of this music here is just really helpful. So once you download the song that you want, you're just gonna drag it into exactly where you want it to play. So let's say I added right here. This one I downloaded from Epidemic Sound. And that is pretty much about it. And if you want to be speaking while the music is playing, that's super simple. You can just blade the music to exactly where you want it to be lowered. So let's say Command B over here, and then Command B again. And then I can lower or raise it based on however loud I want to be speaking. So for this one, I'm talking, I want people to hear it. So I'm just gonna bring it down to, let's say, -20. You can put it to whatever volume you want, and then you'll just play it like this. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aisha, and this is your first time stopping by. So as you can see, you can hear the music, but you can still hear me speaking as well. So that is pretty much where I get my music from for the most part. You can also look on SoundCloud sometimes and look for non-copyright music, but even that is a little bit difficult sometimes because you can still get flagged by YouTube. So I try as much as I can to use epidemic and thematic, just because it's a lot easier without the copyright. Some other things that I think are really important to know that I forgot to talk about earlier in the video, these 3 icons here are super helpful when I'm editing. So this little box over here is transform. So when you click down over here, you can either click transform. So first I'll select a clip, I'll go here and click transform. And through here, you can pretty much zoom in or zoom out of your video. So this is really helpful for when, let's say I'm talking and I want to zoom in to my face or something. I'll just, let's see, I'll Command B, and then I'll Command B over here, for example. And then for that selected clip, I'm gonna use the zoom tool over here. So this is scale all. So I'm just gonna zoom into wherever I want it to zoom into. And while it's still on transform, you can actually click on the actual video and drag it down to wherever you want it to be focused on. So that way, when I'm playing it, let's say the video starts from here, it will just zoom into exactly where I want it to zoom into. So that's really helpful. So I also find the crop tool so useful. So this is more for a slow zoom. So I click on this tool whenever I want to slowly zoom into my face. So I will click on Ken Burns, which once you do that, it's gonna allow you to start from where you want to zoom and to also end where you want the zoom to end, I guess. So let's say I'm starting from here, I'm gonna drag it into where I want the zoom to end. So I like to focus it on my face, for example. So I'll zoom in as much as I want. And the great thing is that you can use this little play button over here to see how it looks in case you have to go back and, you know, change how it looks or change how much is zoomed in. So when I click on that, this is how it looks when it's zooming in. So this is really fun for, like, you know, when you're trying to add something amusing to your video, like however you want to play with it. I think Ken Burns is definitely useful. And then also going over to this last little button over here, it looks like a key almost to me. So this is where you can get your zoom in, your slow-mo, you can do instant replay, rewind. So I'll just use an example over here. So this is where I would, let's say if I wanted to zoom in, or I'd not zoom in, if I wanted to speed through this clip. So I would just select on the clip, of course, and then click this last button on the left hand corner here. I'll go fast, and you can pick how fast you want it to zoom. So let's say I do 8 speed. So now when I play it, it's gonna zoom at 8 speed. So this is really helpful when I'm trying to cut through a really long clip, but I still want you to see what's happening without literally having to sit through the entire clip. Other things that I think may be useful, you may not use these, but I have found them useful when I'm editing. So when you click the letter M, you're gonna get this little, almost like triangular, rectangular looking box, this purple box on top of where you press that M. So when you double click that, this is a marker. So this is really great for me when I have to come back and remember to edit something or add some kind of effect there. Maybe I'm doing my rough cut and I don't want to slow myself down, so I just mark it for myself to come back to later. So sometimes I'll type in, let's say I wanted to make sure I rewind at this clip, and for me to remember that later on when I'm editing, I'll just say rewind and just click done. So now when I go back to that, let's say I'm coming back, I can double click on that, and then I'll see like, oh, I actually wrote rewind. So now I know I wanted to add a rewind at that specific spot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm forgetting. Honestly, there's so much on here. We could be literally doing this forever. So this is the volume button here. So the same way I've been dragging the volume up and down manually, you can also actually go over here in the corner and do the same thing. So this is really useful when I'm just trying to play around with music sound, or how loud I'm speaking, or how loud the music is over my speaking. So that's super helpful. And yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but yeah, we're just gonna keep moving on now. So once my video is done, so I've added all of my overlays, my text, my sound effects, whatever it is, I usually just go over to the corner over here and I download it for Apple devices 4K, and that is pretty much it. I have the file of my video and then I can go add it to YouTube. So now we're gonna move on to thumbnails, because again, that is probably one of the most important things you could do for a video. If your thumbnail isn't good, no one is gonna click on the video. So if it's super blurry, if it doesn't really portray what the video is gonna be about, yeah, like people will just literally skip over it. YouTube is so oversaturated already with so much content that you want your thumbnails to stand out. So I'm always trying to find ways to make my thumbnails more interesting. I'm sure there's plenty of ways I still can make them interesting, but yeah, this is just how I make my thumbnails usually. So I go to pickmonkey.com because that is probably the best for thumbnails in my opinion. I've been using it for a couple of years now and I just really love this website. I also pay for their premium membership because again, I know I'm using this weekly and I'd rather just have all of the tools unlocked for me without sacrificing the quality of my thumbnail. So I'll usually scroll down to their canvases and they already have one for YouTube thumbnail, which is perfect. So the most important thing to note, so let's say you're not using PicMonkey, you're using another site to create your thumbnail, just make sure that you remember the dimensions for a thumbnail. So the dimensions are always going to be 1280 by 720. So if you do any higher or lower, it can mess up your thumbnail when you add it to YouTube. So it can either shrink it or stretch it out or make it really weird. So as long as you have those dimensions, you'll be just fine. So I click on a blank canvas and then from there I can go into making my thumbnails. So usually what I do is I go on PhotoGrid or any kind of collage app, and that is where I stick together, or stitch together I should say, any pictures that I want to use in my thumbnail. So if I'm using 4 pictures, 3 pictures, I create that collage and save that as a photo. So I'm not going to show how to do that because it's pretty straightforward, literally any collage app, until you figure out exactly which pictures you want in your thumbnail. And then from there, I just drag and drop it into my PicMonkey. So this was for my last video, which is my vacation vlog. So again, I wanted something that shows vacation. I put a picture of a beach, a picture of myself, maybe like a cute little accessory picture, just trying to make it stand out as much as I can. So from there, I just go into text. So the great thing about PicMonkey is that you can add your own text as well. So if you remember earlier in the video, I talked about defont.com. That is where I find all of my text, not only for my YouTube videos, but I also use that same text for my thumbnails. So I just go to add text over here, and from there I can add all of the text that I want to use into my PicMonkey account. So one of my favorite texts to use is New Romantics. If you watch my videos a lot, you've definitely seen this text before. So the first thing that I like to do is change the color just so I can see it, and then literally type in whatever you want to type. So this one, I guess I could say St. Martin vlog. And then from there you can stretch it out, make it whatever size you want. You can also play around with colors, so you can make it pink if you want, I don't know, orange. But of course, remember, pick a color that's easy to read because thumbnails are gonna be small when someone's scrolling on YouTube. So you wanna make it really easy, not only with the font, but also the color for the viewers to be able to read it. So PicMonkey also has graphics, which I like to use. So I go to the design ones, maybe I'll scroll down until I see something that I like. So I'll usually go down to, let's see. So let's say I want to add this just to give my video a little bit of something, you know. I can change the color of it, I can change the size of it, and then I usually put this maybe on top of something to kind of highlight, or maybe I can even put it on top of the text over here. So when people are reading it, it's like St. Martin, you know. You can also add your own images and make it transparent. So I think that's my favorite thing about PicMonkey. They literally make an image transparent for you, which I think is so perfect. So let's say I add this random image in here. Oh, this is for a little video that I'm doing right now. It's a picture of a skirt, which has nothing to do with this at all, but just for tutorial purposes, I move over to the scissor icon on the left-hand side, which is the remove background icon, and I click that and it fully removes it for me without me having to do anything. So it perfectly cuts it out and I can just add it here. You can also outline things on PicMonkey, which I love. So I can go to shadow outline, choose outline and it outlines the skirt for me. I can also change the color of it. If I want it to be green or yellow, it literally doesn't matter. So this is my favorite thing. You can also play around with how thick you want the outline to be. So if I want it to be very lightly outlined, I can lower it down to 6, for example. And then that is usually about it. I can add focus to it by adding this little design icon here. And yeah, that's pretty much how I make my thumbnails for the most part. I just play around until it's something that I think will pop out or stand out to viewers. And yeah, I think that's about it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video on how I edit. Again, a lot of these things really took trial and error. So if there's something that I didn't mention and you know you want to add that to your video, or you want to learn how to edit using those tips, look on YouTube, because that is actually how I learned all these tips. I would just type in how to edit Final Cut Pro, and there's so many people out there who have way more knowledge than me on how to edit. They do this professionally, they've been doing this for way longer, but this is honestly just tips that I've picked up that I think are great if you're a beginner, if you're just trying to learn the very basic level of Final Cut Pro on how to edit, just how to do simple things like transitions, text, all of that. Hopefully this video was really helpful for you. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know down in the comments below, but I put all the sites that I mentioned in this video in the description box. So sites that will make it really easy for you, great resources like Pinterest, definitely go on there. You're gonna find a lot of free information on just how to elevate your video and how to elevate your editing in general. So that is all, but I post videos on Mondays at 3 p.m. So please put the bell notification on so you can know whenever I post. So I will see you all in my next video.